The Giants have not had a player on their roster capable of doing what Malik Nabers is in quite some time. And I understand that he's a rookie, never played in an NFL game yet. He still has a long way to go, as Brian Dable likes to say. But it has reached a point here in Giants training camp where whenever number 9 is on the field, you need to have your eyes on him. He dazzles with his release off the line, speed, acceleration, how he can separate from the defense in the back end. And when that ball is in the air, you love his chances of coming down. Because, oh, and by the way, he always seems to be open. That was certainly the case at practice on Sunday when twice Nabers got beyond the defense for would-be touchdowns. Daniel Jones just underthrew him. But then Jones and Nabers came back for probably the connection of the summer so far. On a corner route near the sideline, Nabers made a ridiculous over-the-shoulder, toe-tapping, diving grab for 25.
My fellow Charger fans, do not buy into the Malik Nabers hype. If or when Malik Nabers goes off with the New York Giants, please do not worry, because it doesn't matter at the end of the day. Focus on the bigger picture, my fellow Charger fans. And that bigger picture is getting that Lombardi Trophy. Now, more than ever, the focus is developing a complete team, a culture, and a mentality to demand a presence like never before. Not one star elite wide receiver that we've already had. Well, actually two. It will take one hell of a coach to build a dynasty. When it's all said and done, we will ask the entire world one question: who got it better than us?
You got a ball cap now. You gotta get that ball cap like a baseball player. There it is.
The hype around Malik Nabers doesn't need to be a hype. Don't be sold into the Nabers hype, Charger fans. I read this article and watched this clip on Malik Nabers talking about how it can make the Chargers look bad if he stands out as a pro receiver for the Giants. If this were to happen because of how he is standing out in the Giants training camp, Joe Alt would need to become one of the best, if not the best, tackles in the entire NFL to justify the Chargers passing up on Nabers. Now, I want to talk about that very briefly. That was part of an article that I read talking about how Charger fans can have an uproar from Joe Ortiz and the Chargers passing up on Malik Nabers. Joe Alt, his skill set, his position, his dominance as a tackle is going to contribute to a team winning and instilling a type of culture into a team more than a prolific star wide receiver like Malik Nabers. Do not get me wrong. Malik Nabers is a great player, and I believe he will be a great player in the NFL playing for the New York Giants. This video is not about Malik Nabers not being a great player or being so-called overrated or even him contributing to some wins. This video is about the better option, trade-offs. This video is about Joe Alt making a bigger impact, contributing to the Chargers culture of building a dominant and demanding presence amongst the NFL. Joe Alt was a no-brainer. Joe Alt being picked was a chess move. And it will be proven for years to come. Especially this year, but for years to come as well. What is the importance of a complete team? While Nabers looks like he will be a top caliber wideout who could quickly emerge as one of the elites in the league, it does not matter if or when he does so. People are missing the point here. Harbaugh is building a team. It's a complete team. They are not guys who are only elite, especially wide receivers, and don't contribute to wins or even playoff wins, and especially the Super Bowl. Harbaugh is building a Super Bowl winning team, a dynasty, and that's it. Wide receivers don't always contribute to wins. I can hardly even think of top 5, top 10 wide receivers that has contributes to wins, playoff wins, or even Super Bowls. Example of teams with elite wide receivers, I would challenge the idea that teams need elite wide receivers to win Super Bowls, let alone playoff wins. How many teams have the top 5 or even 10 wide receivers and go to the Super Bowl? I'm trying to think how many teams that has top 5 or top 10 wide receivers and goes to the Super Bowl. The only team I could think of in recent memory was the 49ers and their wide receiver, Brandon Ayuk, who is not a top 5 wide receiver in my book. He is my top 7. But however, even if Brandon Ayuk was a top 5 wide receiver, he is on a complete team. He is on a team that has a great coach. So even if the team is not complete, he still has a great coach with a strong culture and brand to win and dominate games. However, we now have Brandon Ayuk wanting to leave the Niners. So that just sort of proves my point. Brandon Ayuk, he's a very great wide receiver. He's a dominant wide receiver. He has contributed to wins, yes. But if it was only Brandon Ayuk and Brock Purdy, I highly doubt they would have went to the Super Bowl. I want to think about stress a little bit more on teams that has top 5, top 10 wide receivers, and they are winning games. They are winning regular season games, playoff games, and let alone going to the Super Bowl and or winning one. Now, in the regular season, some of these top 5, top 10 wide receivers has contributed to regular season wins. Tyreek Hill with the Dolphins, Tyreek Hill and Tua. Dolphins, they're having really great regular season games. They can't get deep in the playoffs. Trevor Lawrence, he's a very average quarterback, but he has really pretty great wide receivers, and he has a great coach. He does have a great coach. He is on a pretty solid team, but Trevor Lawrence isn't a really good quarterback. And I don't think any of those wide receivers on the Jaguars are top 5, top 10 wide receivers. The Texans, you got C.J. Stroud. You got DeMeco Ryans as the head coach. And they have some pretty solid wide receivers. None of them are top 5, top 10. That when they went to the playoffs last year, now they got Stephon Diggs. I would not say Stephon Diggs is a top 5 wide receiver. But he's definitely top 10 wide receiver. Definitely, probably more than likely top. I forget about Stephon Diggs. And in my rankings, I'm going to have to do a video on rankings because I forgot about Stephon Diggs. I would not put CeeDee Lamb or Brandon Ayuk over Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs definitely will be my top 6 wide receiver. We're talking about... Now let's go down the list and let's see how successful their team was. We're talking about my number 1 wide receiver in the NFL, Justin Jefferson, when healthy. Justin Jefferson, my number 2, Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen, my number 2. Tyreek Hill, my number 3. Mike Evans, my number 4. And my number 5, Before I say somebody, I want to think really hard who is my number 5. I kind of forget about some of these receivers. Perhaps Maybe Stephon Diggs. Because I think before I did have CeeDee Lamb as my top 5. But I would not put CeeDee Lamb over Stephon Diggs. So, Stephon Diggs, CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Ayuk. That's who I was missing. I knew who I was missing. Jamar Chase. Yeah, so I would put Jamar Chase over Stephon Diggs. So, like I said, Justin Jefferson, Keenan Allen, Tyreek Hill, Mike Evans, Jamar Chase, Stephon Diggs, CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Ayuk. Those are my 8. I think that's perfect. I think that's a great, solid list. I'm going to do some more research to see if I could do my complete 10 list, and I will do a video on that. Can't wait for that wide receiver list. That wide receiver video. I've been talking about it for the past week now. But, you know, Tyreek Hill, he won the Super Bowl with the Chiefs. What were the Chiefs? They had Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce. Very solid team. Pretty good, solid defense. One hell of a coach. Andy Reid. That's my point. What did Tyreek Hill do when he left? Tyreek Hill wanted to get paid. As he should in his own right. He wants to get paid now. Okay. He got a ring, so he's like, now it's time for me to get paid. I understand you, Tyreek Hill. I am not mad at you at all, brother. He wanted to get paid, goes to the Dolphins, has yet to win a playoff game. And to be honest with you, I do not see the Dolphins winning a playoff game. Not with Tua being their quarterback. I just really don't. I don't see it. The Dallas Cowboys. What did I have? CeeDee Lamb, top 6, top 7? Yeah, I had him right behind Stephon Diggs. CeeDee Lamb, top 7 wide receiver. Cowboys can hardly even go to the NFC Championship. They can hardly win 2 playoff games. They be lucky when they win 1. And they are an incomplete team. They definitely are, actually. Now, what's up with their quarterback? Their quarterback, to me, is the dead weight of that team. So, should CeeDee Lamb get paid? Eventually, yeah. He should. Eventually. Should he get paid now? Should he get paid the time when he wants to get paid? If I was a general manager, I would not. You know, Jerry Jones pretty much expressed that. And he's like, I don't mind breaking out the checkbook. But why would I break out the checkbook if we are not winning the games that actually truly matter? Now, don't get me wrong. Every single game in the NFL matters. But we talking about matters. Winning playoff games they hit different than winning regular season games. Winning the Super Bowl hits different than winning a playoff game, winning a regular season game. All the games matter. They all matter. But we're talking about when it's really, really time for you to show up, these players to show up. Where you at, CeeDee Lamb? I would not break the bank on that. No. I just wouldn't. It is proven that teams can win games without an all-star wide receiver. It is proven that teams can win Super Bowls without an all-pro wide receiver. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that having an all-pro wide receiver hurts or shouldn't happen. But, I mean, when we're going to put this much value into a wide receiver, like a team has to have one. And we have to pay these wide receivers. Hold your horses for a second. No, not at all. I disagree. No, don't need them. Love to have them. Love to play with them. Love to coach them. Love to sign them. Love to draft them. Yes, most definitely, indeed. But need? I'm gonna break the bank so I'm gonna have to take the risk of getting rid of other players so I can keep you? I don't think so. I would much rather pay an all-pro pass rusher before I will pay an all-pro wide receiver. I would much rather pay an all-pro cornerback than I would pay an all-pro wide receiver. To be honest with you, I could be a little biased as I'm a former defensive player. I played cornerback, played safety, but I also played wide receiver too. That was my first position I played in high school. I would not rather pay an all-pro linebacker before I pay an all-pro wide receiver. Now, you know what? I would rather pay an all-pro defensive tackle before I play an all-pro wide receiver. I would. So, those type of players, man, if they are all-pro and they're dominant players, cornerback, defensive tackle, linebacker, pass rusher, they can get you a few wins. They can definitely get you a few wins. They definitely can. A few more wins than a wide receiver can. I mean, I believe just Malik Nabers could end up being another Justin Jefferson. Really, I really believe he could. And by me saying another Justin Jefferson, I'm not saying that he's going to be on the same level as Justin Jefferson. Hell no. But what I'm saying is that he will be another Justin Jefferson by him being this all-star, all-pro, elite wide receiver, which I definitely believe he will be. I mean, that's if he can do it with Daniel Jones. God, Lord have mercy. I feel sorry for Nabers having Daniel Jones throw him the ball. Daniel Jones is going to be like Tua. Daniel Jones and Nabers is going to be like Tua and Tyreek Hill. And what I mean by that, Daniel Jones underthrowing Nabers. Daniel Jones throws not being able to connect with Nabers. Nabers sometimes going to have to run back to catch the ball. Yeah, I am so surprised that Daniel Jones still got a job. But anyway, so Mike Evans, he's a great wide receiver, top 5 wide receiver, definitely in my book. He is and he won a Super Bowl. But who did Mike Evans win the Super Bowl with? Tom freaking Brady. Which almost certainly gives you a winning chance to win a Super Bowl. So, the point is that these top caliber wide receivers are not contributing to big playoff wins, at least going deep into the playoffs. Unless the team is complete or they have an elite quarterback and coach who will take the entire team to the promised land. So, in conclusion, what is my point? My point is that these top caliber wide receivers are overvalued. And I believe they are overvalued because of the highlight reel tapes. They are overvalued because the other position that I believe is overvalued as well, which is the quarterback. Don't get me wrong. Quarterback position is extremely valuable position. It is a very, very significant. It is very, 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 very important. Arguably the most important position in the entire NFL. But I do believe offensive linemen are the most important, most significant positions in the entire NFL. I do believe that the offensive lineman position is the most valuable position in the NFL. I do believe that. More valuable than the quarterback. I believe a great solid offensive line can make an average quarterback look like a really good quarterback. A good quarterback look like an elite quarterback. You got a really solid offensive line, average quarterback, and you got an average quarterback throwing an elite wide receiver the ball. That average quarterback is going to look phenomenally great. Phenomenally good, I should say. So offensive linemen that's a very important position. Now, with that being said, I do believe, depending on how the quarterback plays his game, he does not need an elite offensive line to contribute to wins and to really make a huge effect on games, to winning games. So Justin Herbert did it with a bad offensive line. Jamar Chase. Joe Burrow did it with a pretty bad offensive line. Cam Newton did it. So some of these quarterbacks has done it. But that still does not disprove my point that offensive linemen are the most valuable and most important position in the entire NFL. They are. They truly are. That's just my opinion. You know, it really is my opinion. One could definitely argue that it's quarterback, but when you got your quarterback getting his ass whooped all day long, and always continuously getting hit, you know, taking that beating, that's going to eventually put a toll on him. You want your all-star quarterback taking that toll, having those beatings? I don't think so. Even if he's the size of a Cam Newton, Anthony Richardson, you know, Justin Herbert. You don't want your quarterback getting that hit. Your quarterback is very valuable as well. They are valuable and they are making the money. They are the franchise. And so the offensive lineman is like they're like the employees of like this great company, you know, like Amazon. And then what makes Amazon and Apple? The employees serve the customers. So you got these offensive linemen who is like right there in the front of the trenches. You know, they are defending, they are protecting this valuable piece of treasure. You know, the quarterback. So you need that's what makes the offensive lineman position so valuable and so significant. You know? So that's just my point on that, my analogy on that. So teams, they can go deep into the playoffs if they have a coach who can build and instill a winning culture and a quarterback who leads and enforces that culture on the team right behind that coach. This is what Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers are doing. In conclusion, yes, Nabers is a standout elite wideout, but he is on the Giants. And if he was on the Chargers, because we have Jim Harbaugh, it wouldn't be the same effect as it will be on the Giants. But it will not, my point is, it will not be as impactful if we skipped on Joe Alt. It just wouldn't. Joe Alt is definitely going to contribute to Justin Herbert, man, becoming even better. Like, Joe Alt is that presence. He is that force. That he is going to be that spirit that's going to really instill the culture into the Chargers. He is like the first man up, the first draft of the Harbaugh era. Joe Alt is the brand. He is the vessel. He is the representation of this culture and this bully nature and this dynamic physicality that Jim Harbaugh is going to enforce among the entire NFL. With Malik Nabers being an elite wide receiver, standout wide receiver, he is going to lack that type of force. He is. So, I will close up on that. I just want you to think. I want you to remember that football is complementary. It's about matchups. It's situational. And so, when you're comparing or you're thinking about these receivers or these players that should be on this team, etc., take everything into consideration and focus on the bigger picture. So if you like this video, like, comment, share, subscribe. Let me know if you disagree with me. Let me know if you do agree with me. Give me your top 5, top 10 wide receivers. I would like to know this. What do you think about Malik Nabers? Do you think he's going to be a bust? You think he's going to be a great wideout? How do you think the Giants is going to prevail this year? I don't think they're going to do a damn thing. This is Daniel Jones' last year. He's done. You know, I think Brian Dable will still be with the Giants. He's a pretty solid coach. He's a really good coach. Yeah, but there's Daniel Jones. He is that. He is he's the dead weight for the Giants. I mean, he's underthrowing Malik Nabers and everything in practice and all training camp. It is a disaster. Anyways, thank you so much. This is all day. I'm gonna be here tomorrow. I am doing these videos every single day now. My schedule, real quick. I am going to do a schedule for when it's training camp, leading all the way to draft, to the end of the draft in April of the next year, the following year. That's when I will stop doing the videos every single day. So after the NFL draft, I will decrease my videos, my daily videos, to perhaps once every other week. So like once every 2 weeks, because it depends on how frequent the NFL news will be, what's going on around the league, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But the NFL kind of starts to die down a little bit after the draft. Some of the guys are not as busy and everything like that, so it won't be as much news. But whatever news does pop up, or breaking news and stuff like that, please believe me that I will be making a video on that. And then when training camp hits, so when OTAs hits, I will be doing a video once a week. I'll go do it once a week. And then after OTAs, when training camp hits, we start in every single day. We back in action. Back in action all day. So thank you so much. I love you all. And we're going to be back tomorrow.
Welcome to the 2024 Chargers locker room. Your football home. We want to compliment all who have earned the opportunity to get here and recognize the journey traveled to now be playing at the highest level of football. None here were born on third base, but rather had to work their way to first, then second, then third.
Together, man. Together. We together, they can't stop us, man.
Congratulations on taking your life circumstances and turning them into success. By your talent and effort, you will be known. We predict those who produce will stay, and we predict those who stay will be champions. A piece of advice, if I may. Treat others as you would want to be treated. Any respect you give will be returned, and then some.
That was real! That was real right there! That was real football!
We are all now on third base, together. Poised to bring it home. Sincerely, Jim Harbaugh.
My fellow Charger fans, do not fret.